Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome to the fourth installment of Userone Talks. As per usual, we're going to talk about Roleplay Union.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hello.
welcome to Userone Talks. And I notice your username is Hoes Before Bros. Is that what you want to be known by?
Uh, yeah, why not? I mean, I've never really had a proper username in any single video game. I always keep changing it and coming up with some funny ass shit.
Sure, man. Uh, just try to just limit swearing a little bit because, before
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are trying to not be taken down by YouTube. Okay. Hold on. I'm just adjusting the formatting. So, why don't you introduce yourself? You've been with us in the last episode. You've been with us. Well, before we start, there are a couple of things I need to address with the people that applied on the roleplay union to be administrators, staff members or whatnot. So, before I start, I'd like to address that first. To everybody that wants to become a staff member, I've received a couple of applications which I appreciate, and we do have a couple of questions to some of the uh, people that applied, but those that have applied and there aren't any complications, we're just gonna approve you basically after a short interview. We're gonna set that up, but first we need to talk about guidelines and rules. That's what we need to establish first before we move on to actually having moderators come in from the outside. This is what we want to focus on. We want to focus on our rules. We want to focus on how we enforce the rules because that's the whole point of the roleplay union. We want to talk about how we enforce the rules. So how about we have a look at a couple of documents very quickly, okay? So uh, this is what I'm talking about. This is the roleplay union rules. This is a document that I've just published in the announcement section. So if you wanna see what that is, that's in if you look at announcements, there you go. So here's the document roleplay union rules. These are not in effect yet. They're gonna be in effect from October, I believe. Yeah, October. So basically, right, to summarize how they work. You have Section 1 serious offenses. These are the ones that you're going to get a ban for 30 days for if you are proven to do them. And that's the important part. We will prove that you've done it first, and then we will punish you for it. That's in the long term, okay? In the short term, if somebody is spamming is and being disruptive, then they're gonna get banned immediately. They will be able to appeal that ban, and if we decide that we don't have enough evidence to prove that they've done it, then they'll be unbanned. Or if they can prove that they haven't done it somehow, then they'll be banned. So basically, we have serious offenses, 30-day ban, mild offenses, and this might look complicated, but it's really done to simplify the whole process. The way this simplifies this is mild offenses. First time you commit a mild offense, it's a formal warning. The second time, if you do it and you have another mild offense within the last 30 days, that's a 2 hour ban. If you have two offenses in the last 30 days, that's a 24-hour ban. If you have three offenses or more, then it's a 7-day ban. And this system is very similar to Counter Strike Go, where if you get kicked for team killing, the first time it's a 2 hour ban, the second time it's a 24 within like a week it's a 24-hour ban, and if it's three or more times then it's a 7-day ban. But the reason why I want to simplify it is to make sure that rules are being enforced consistently. That's the premise. That's something that we want to focus on in the roleplay union, and it looks similar to this is a commercial law in Latvia, and it's kind of similar in a way that you have sections and rules, subsections detailing certain stuff, but it's kind of more of a hybrid of the two. Basically, we are trying to be specific with what we want to do, because the more specific you are, the less confusion there is. And yes, I'm not saying this is a perfect system. There is no perfect system that a human can make. But what we want to minimize is on some old play servers, you see one type of people get treated one way, and another group of people consistently get treated another way, and that creates frustration. And generally speaking, nobody wants that. So that's what we're trying to minimize. I actually want to hear the opinion of this person that I have with me, a host before bros, because he is also studying law, and he spoke with us. He was in an interview in last week. But in regards of people who are with the staff team, they want to apply to the staff team. I'm sorry for the delay. It's because of the guidelines. It's because we want to finish writing our guidelines first, and once we finish that, we will get you accepted. Should I will try to make that happen within this weekend. I know I've said this before, but I apologize. Okay, so now that we're back, uh, why don't you fill us in on about who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm here with Userone. Uh, I am a guy from Sweden. I live in Malmö. I've been playing LSRP for at least I think 8 years. I think that's a pretty reasonable. I originally started from MTA, and now I'm playing LSRP for
It's
at least 8 days.
interesting because I also started
Yes.
on MTA.
Yeah, we actually came from the same server, Valhalla Gaming.
No, I actually no play Valhalla gaming.
Oh, you
I didn't.
didn't
I
know?
didn't start playing that early. I used to play on Charismat before that. But yeah, continue. We wanted to talk about rule enforcement, right?
Yeah.
Mm. So what's I just showed my kind of new rules that I'm going to try. I'm trying to revamp our current rules because our current rules are a little vague. I mean, I'm trying to make them uh, more direct, but it's not perfect. There's still room for complications, and the biggest issue I believe is that they're really complicated. Every single rule has its own set of punishments, and even I, the person who wrote these rules, made a mistake once with these already. So what I'm trying to do with the new set of rules, have you seen them yet? Well, you probably haven't seen them because they just got released in the you know announcements. You can see them in announcements.
Oh no, I haven't seen.
Yeah,
Let's see, what is this?
but basically, what I'm trying to do is you have serious offenses, which is always a 30-day ban if they are proven, and then you have mild offenses, which have 4 degrees of punishments: formal warning, 2-hour ban, 24-hour ban, and 7-day ban. That's it. No other punishments. So it's easier for administrators to not make mistakes. Basically, is what I'm trying to achieve here. What do you think about that?
Hmm. I'm just going through it quickly. I wasn't really listening what you were saying, but
But
uh,
yeah, but I'm just explaining in general for the viewers to try to not complicate things, try to understand, make it easier to understand what I'm saying,
yeah, you could
why
definitely
I'm
make a
doing it.
graph about this, like a proper.
A graph, yeah.
It's really hard to just look at the black and
That's
white
that's a good
text like
point.
this.
Yeah, a graph. I can possibly make one right now if I use smart art. Yeah, I could do something like this. Mild offenses. Let's start with serious offenses. Serious offenses. Uh, 30-day ban. And then we have mild offenses. And that's gonna be, degrees. So first it's gonna be a formal warning. Then it's a 2-hour ban. Then it's a 24-hour ban. And then it's a 7-day ban. See, I can remember it now. I'm not gonna make mistakes with my punishments again because I've simplified the system for myself. Because administrators are people too. I've learned that when I started, being an administrator. I'm joking. I knew that before, but I really felt the pressure of being an administrator once I actually stepped into the shoes of an administrator when I started my own community. The roleplay union. So when I realized that for humans we should make things as simple as possible to minimize the window for mistakes. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Basically, this is the system. And
So did you post some? Oh, and
well, I posted in announcements. I posted the announcement in the Discord, if you look in announcements, the staff announcements are just announcements that only staff sees. So there's nothing interesting there. But I'm pretty sure you can just copy paste this in the interview room if you want to see the basic premise.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
There you go. So that's it.
Yeah, that's easy as fuck. I know you can just easily check like, hey, what if I feel like breaking some rules? Let's see, a warm warning. Yeah, fuck it, dude. Yeah, I'll just go with it. You know, like it's really easy to know if you're breaking a rule or not. Then, you
Well,
know,
that's the thing.
what's the
We're
punishment?
not talking about the situations where it's easy to tell if somebody is breaking a rule or not. We're more talking about gray areas. You know what I mean? We're more talking about situations where it's not obvious if somebody is breaking a rule or not. Oh my god, what am I doing to the format? Uh, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not obvious if somebody is breaking a rule or not.
Yeah, that's actually something that often happens when I play LSRP. I'm kinda in the gray area with different sorts of aspects of roleplay and so on. So, you
And
know,
you told us that you were a tester, right? Or was it somebody else?
it was somebody
Oh,
else.
I'm
I've
sorry.
never been
Yeah.
a tester. I have a life.
Well, you can't say that. That's just insulting them.
I'm really sorry to all the testers in the
Yeah,
chat.
don't say that. But you wanted to speak about something. Can you remind me what you want to talk about?
Yeah, a whole lot of bullshit. Sorry, whole lot of
Nonsense. That's
disappointing
what I say instead of
nonsense.
bullshit.
Yes, hostile actions from the administration team and the staff toward our African roleplay, which is something that I'm still really sad about. And this situation that I've had with the staff is currently having an ongoing development of different sorts of series of various actions and so on, which is really annoying when you're just trying to enjoy the amazing roleplay that
Okay,
basically role
let's
playing an
let's avoid
African
let's avoid
refugee
vague
provides.
statements like amazing and stuff like that. Let's just be very specific about a certain situation. So tell me, can you give me a situation where you saw an admin treat you that or enforce a rule that isn't written down, for example?
Yeah, I mean, we have had plenty of those situations, man. It's basically just negative propaganda given by the
Stop
administrations.
talking, seriously.
Come on, bro.
Cause, like seriously, what you're saying is complete nonsense, and it holds no value because you are not you're not bringing forward any kind of situation. You're
Well,
not bringing forward. You're not taking this seriously.
I am taking it 100%
You're not
seriously.
taking this
I'm
seriously.
okay. Let's just continue, man. Trust me, I'm 100% into this
Well,
situation.
you know what? Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go talk to somebody else because the way
What
you
the fuck, man? Again, I've never done anything to you.
like this is another big. Let me explain myself. The issue that I have with you right now is that I'm trying to. I've asked you multiple times to bring me a specific situation, and your response is always, "Yeah, man, it's a propaganda."
Well, okay. Listen,
Can you
I can
bring
give you one
forward
situation.
a
My
specific
recent
situation?
my recent ban, that was
Okay,
full of a lot of bullshit. It
okay.
happened.
Don't
Okay, so
don't don't swear.
basically, oh sorry. Uh, am I able to say who the admin was that
No,
banned
don't
me?
don't don't ban. Don't
Okay.
not yeah. Sorry, don't
Okay, so
specify their name.
basically there was this one specific admin, and he decided, I mean, she decided that, hey, uh, you cannot do crime in broad daylight, even if it's in self-defense out of the blue. We were in a shootout in Fort Carson, you know, and we had this like faction war with this one random faction, and they decided to attack us in Fort Carson. So we shot in self-defense, and accidentally we killed all of them. Well, actually, all of the people that shot at us. So this whole situation was in self-defense, but the admin decided that, hey, you cannot shoot people in broad daylight, even if it's in self-defense, and decided to ban me and a few other guys. And
Okay, can you show any evidence behind that? Because if we're talking
yeah,
about the situations, we have a lot
I
of
got a lot
words
of
being
shit.
thrown around, and not all of them may be accurately portraying the situation. So a lot of people are skeptical when they hear that kind of stuff. So why don't you show us
Yeah, I
some
mean,
evidence? Why don't you
yeah,
show us some?
I got a bunch of evidence, man. I
Right,
even
go ahead,
got that shit.
post it in the interview room
Yeah, hold on.
because we want to see straight up examples. We want to see things that will actually affect us because people, making a bubble and going about like vaguely talking about other people, the other people, the other kind of people, just going, oh, we are better than them. Oh, of course they are full. Their heads are full. They are idiots. It's not gonna help. It's just not productive. It's not gonna go anywhere. So what I'm actually
Uh,
trying to do is I'm actually trying to learn something, see what the issue is. Clearly, you are frustrated with
yeah,
a specific community, and what I'm trying to do is learn from that frustration.
there you go.
Okay,
Killing
so
someone in broad
there's a
daylight.
small issue with it because it has a admin's name. We wanna censor the name because we don't really care who the admin is. All we care about is sorry, that was mine. I'm trying to edit the image. All we care about is the situation itself, what happened in a specific situation. Again, we're not affiliated with any specific roleplays over this time, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to examine these situations and see if there's anything else that could be done. So I'm actually gonna. Uh, okay, well, what can I do here? I guess I can just pull up the image. Okay, so basically, what you
And by
sent
the
me,
way,
poor roleplay killing somebody in broad daylight and your entire group fails to roleplay properly. That's not enough
yeah.
evidence to look at. We need to see the situation itself. Do you have
Well, I
any?
mean, hold on, man, hold on.
Okay, send more
So,
evidence because we need to have enough to actually have a
so
discussion.
okay, I'll go through the whole situation if you have time. Okay,
But no,
first of
no, no,
all,
no. I need evidence. Okay, if you're gonna tell me the story, uh, that's great and all, but you could be making this whole story up. You see, that's the problem. So we need
here's
to
my
actually see evidence of the situation.
here's the enemy in the background. He's shooting at my boys, so I already have more than enough of a good reason to actually like kill the guy. But so anyway, so we had the perfect reason to actually kill him. He already killed three of us, and he was
God
still
damn
trying
it!
to kill our guys. Okay, so we killed him. Then he makes a forum report about it, and then the admin just decides to out of the blue ban me and a few other guys. And the actual reason for the ban was shooting in broad daylight. And the admin even specified that the act of us killing somebody in broad daylight is what got us in trouble. So,
I
I always,
believe no, I believe that happened because I've had more ridiculous situation with administration on some servers happen. But why don't you tell me the more specific? Why don't you did you actually screenshot the admin telling you this though?
yeah,
Can you
hold
show
on.
that to me? Because that's very important. It's very important that we actually see administrators acting this way on hardcore roleplay servers, and we recognize that this is a problem because administrators are enforcing rules that are not rules. They're enforcing rules that are not written down. They're enforcing rules that are arbitrary, that are not detailed, and that's
I
what
think that,
creates frustration. That's what creates confusion. That's what leads to people going, fuck this community, just start DMing everybody. You know what I mean? People get
yeah, and
frustrated.
I was really close to actually do the same thing the other day.
Yeah, people stop getting motivated to do anything fun in the community because they don't know if they're gonna run into an admin that's gonna punish them for some random reason, which it has never been communicated that wasn't okay before. I've had multiple situations with administrators where they would tell me that I was wrong, but they would explain it in such a way in which I would, not know how I could fix my, behavior. So basically, it means that administrators can at any time come and just ban me pretty much for practically any reason. If I go out and do something, the only way to avoid that is to sit in your fucking home and do nothing, right? And that's not fun. That kills any kind of fun. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's basically the proof. And even when I logged on to UCP, it actually also said that shooting in broad daylight, which is fucking hilarious. But then after I made a fuss about it, the admin decided to change the reason for my ban to. Hold on, let me see. It like the reason for the ban was changed from shooting in broad daylight to DM
Wow.
not
Actually,
suitable
actually, this
RP.
is interesting. I'm gonna censor the name of the admin, but you know what? I will say which community this is from. This is from Los Santos Roleplay. I don't think
Yeah,
I does wrong in saying which community this is from. Again, I'm not. Here's the thing. This admin is not corrupt. Okay, because they are doing what their guidelines are telling them to do, pretty much. And this is a pretty high ranked admin as well, right?
yeah, but she told me like I first when she decided to make this decision, I actually PM'd her on the forums and told her that hey, what you did was wrong. Like we didn't do anything bad, and she told me that I had the chance to actually appeal the. I mean, I had the chance to provide all the evidence I gave her in that previous post, and she just asked like why I didn't I post it on the report, but she didn't give me chance to even like respond to the report or anything. So usually when admins say they put something like hey you have 72 hours to respond or whatever. I wasn't given that opportunity. So, like there wasn't even a situation where I could have actually provided the evidence to
Hold
make
on.
a case to defend myself.
Whoa, what happened? So, okay, hold on. From what I understood, you got punished for this vague offense, which wasn't written down in the rule section. Hold on, okay, let me just make it clear, absolutely clear, so that everybody understands what happened. Uh, Here is what this high-ranked administrator told you on. So, okay, from the beginning, you got banned. You posted an
Yeah.
appeal. This is the
No.
response of an admin in the appeal, right?
Uh, no.
This is
Wait,
somebody
what?
else's appeal.
No, this is my appeal.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
appealed, and this is the response of an admin in your appeal.
Yeah,
Okay, great. So, the admin says you got banned mainly for shooting in the broad daylight. Now,
yeah.
here's what I want to do. I'm gonna go to the rules section of Los Santos Roleplay, and I want to see where there's a rule that says you're not allowed to shoot in the broad daylight.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I've seen other administrators as well, like using this broad daylight rule as something to fuck with people. I mean, to mess with
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I
And
know what
I,
you mean, and I've had very similar issues myself where we got punished for things that are not in the rules section, things that are not written down, and that is problematic. That is frustrating because we'll explain why is it frustrating. I'm pretty sure you know why.
yeah, because I fucking want to know what I did wrong.
Exactly. You don't know what you did wrong. Because if you get punished and you cannot improve your behavior, you cannot change your behavior. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just do every action and then get punished for something that wasn't written down in the rules section, and then you make a note on your own list of unwritten rules. I actually have a thread on Los Santos Roleplay, which is unwritten rules that are actually being enforced. Let me find it. Actually, I'll share it with you.
Yeah, but
Uh,
the location of the sun doesn't really change the fact that people can do crime. I mean, there wasn't. I mean, a
we're not
few
even talking
weeks
about the
ago.
location of the sand. We're talking about this mere fact that the you shooting in the broad daylight
It's okay.
issue. Yeah,
It
uh,
happened.
it's yeah, it happened and it continues to happen. It's the same story over and over. People get punished for something that is not written in the rules section. So how about I show you my thread where I started the document, but I kind of gave up on it. But I'll show it to you anyway. Here it is, interview room. There you go. You can have a look, and I'll show it on stream. All right, there we go. So I like how a lot of people are like actually saying this is actually pretty useful. Thanks. Literally, all I'm doing in this thread is documenting rules that are being enforced by administrators, and you know. So a lot of these I don't have citation for, but some of these I do have citation for. Basically, what I do is I see an administrator enforce a rule that's not written down in the rules section, and I specify what it says. So, for example, the ones that I have citation for: deathmatch, sufficient reason to kill. You're allowed to kill someone for breaking into your property. Robbery rules: you are not allowed to kill someone after a robbery simply because you robbed them. I mean that can kind of self-explanatory, but this kind of stuff does help. But what's more concerning is not the blacks, aka the things that you're certainly not allowed to do. It's not the whites, certainly things that you are allowed to do. It's the gray area, the area where it's not certain whether or not you're allowed to do something. So, for example, let's see if we can find some questionable rules. So, under the rules that need citation, use common sense. I mean, some of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory and is obvious, like logging in game simply to collect paycheck while idling and leaving afterwards can lead to being kicked and then repeated jailed or banned. But it actually helps to have that stuff written down because what's common sense is arbitrary between every person. And but no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about things that are more gray. Let's see if we can have let's have a more
I
specific.
mean, what about my friend's ban for bug abuse the other day? That
Bug
was really
abuse.
interesting. Yeah.
We had a couple of examples of bug abuse bans. For example, Clorontic's first ban was when he pressed G a button to get in as a passenger, and because the car had driven away and his character was going there, what the game does is if you cannot get into a car for a certain time, it teleports you into the car. He was banned for bug abuse when he didn't actually abuse any bug. No, he wasn't even banned for bug abuse. He was abused for banned for cheating when he didn't actually cheat. But I guess it's in the same realm. But tell me about your story and present evidence. But hold on. Let's have some structure. Let's have some structure before we move on to the next story. Let's focus on this story, okay? So again, to make it 100% clear, right? You got punished for uh, shooting in the broad daylight. And if we look at the rules section, I'm sorry that we have to like spell things out this obviously, but this is a public video for all kinds of different people, and they all need to understand what we're talking about here. So if we look at the in-game rules here, uh, we got common courtesy, we got metagame, power gaming, abuse of SAM physics. Maybe this is where you're not allowed to shoot in the board layout. That wouldn't make sense. Okay, let's keep going. Third party, death matching. There we go. Death matching. This seems like the kind of section which would have you're not allowed to shoot in the broad daylight kind of thing. Uh, Killing another person without sufficient roleplay reason, deathmatching is not allowed. That's the only thing that's here. Save zones, disgusting roleplay, robbing and scamming. Here we go. Alright. Now, let's have a read. Anything about daylight? Nothing. So I just searched daylight. Let me just move my camera so you guys can see. I just searched daylight. There's not a single message of daylight. Uh, if you look at the robberies, we have safe zones where you're not allowed to commit robbery, but judging by the screenshot that you gave me, if you have a look at that screenshot, that was not in any of those safe zones, and that's not the argument that the administrator poses anyway. So you got banned for something that was not against the rules. You got banned for
Yeah.
something vague, and that is the core problem that I
And
and a lot of other
then
people have.
then the reason was also changed to DM not here to RP. Like that's literally something that's like the buzzwords and really like, hey, I really wanna get this guy, so hey, let me change the original ban and put something else. The DM not here to roleplay. They always keep on
Yeah,
adding like
another
those
yeah, you bring up another
and then
point.
not here to RP.
Sometimes they ban you for one reason and then they switch to another reason, and that's
And they
also
make it worse.
frustrating.
They make it worse as well. It looks really bad in my record. Oh, I mean, this situation was voided. I got the admin to void the ban, so like
So
she
you are
realized.
so to be clear, are you still punished for it?
No,
Okay, so
I got
they
it. I got it
reversed that
back.
decision after they had changed after you had to appeal it. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
at
took
least
a
that's
month.
good. I myself actually respect Los Angeles Play for taking appeals and actually looking through them and taking at least some of them seriously. I just wish they were more consistent about that. Okay, well, yeah. Anything else would you like to talk about? Because I want to bring more people through the interview. I want to talk
Yeah,
about their situations. Yeah.
let me talk about the bug abuse situation
Yeah.
that happened
Okay.
the
Okay.
other
Let's
day.
let's address that, and then we'll have other people in. So, what's
So
the bug abuse situation?
basically, we had this trail. We have this trailer park in Flint County. We're basically, we have decided that the city is bad, so we decided to switch there. And you know how there are those blue canisters, right, in the
Mm,
trailer park? If you punch them, they blow up.
so, I don't remember what they're called,
Yeah,
but yeah, I get it.
petroleum
I get it, yeah.
canisters. And so we had nobody around. It was just us, and a few of my friends decided to, hey, it's fun to blow these things up, and they killed themselves with the canister. And some admin decided, like, hey, this is bug abuse, and decided to ban my friend and admin jail two of my friends for 30 minutes. But I was allowed to do it because I actually kept on doing it to show that I'm not breaking any rule. Like who am like I'm not taking advantage. I'm not using it to further any sort of situations because I'm literally by myself, and so were my people. So so
So
if
you're
we
by yourself, and you guys are just in your own circle, and you're just messing around, and you decided to blow yourself up with just punching a petrol canister.
Yeah, and they blow up. And my friend actually didn't even know they blow up. He actually found that out on the spot and got admin jailed for 30 minutes for it.
Well,
But
okay.
yeah,
I mean,
but I
I
was allowed
could
to do
see if you got admin jailed for, I don't know, messing around at the character wise. I mean, even that would be questionable because while Los Santos roleplay used to have a rule that said you have to be in character at all times, they don't anymore. It used to be the first rule that said you have to be in character at all times. Let me actually see if I can find because I need to show. Uh, I need to show evidence for everything I do. So everything I say, Sans roleplay rules in character at all times. Uh, I'm looking through Google Images, hoping somebody captured it. Maybe I captured it. Hold on, I actually have an evidence folder, so maybe I'll be able to find it in my evidence folder. So I have an evidence folder. Uh,
Arra Gondora.
what was that?
Sorry, I was talking to my roommate.
No. Well, yeah, but basically, right. So you okay? So your situation, you were messing around, and there isn't a rule that says you have to stay in character at all times. And people do mess around, including administrators. Administrators do mess around as well. In fact, there was this very interesting video on YouTube for
Parachuting down
yes,
there. Yeah.
LSRP admins messing around. I wonder if that'll come up.
I
Uh,
remember when Emma Martin was teleporting every player in the game to him to play poker. I remember that. I mean,
we want
people fuck
to we want to see evidence. We don't just want to make all these statements. We want to actually show people. But I can personally vouch that administrators absolutely mess around. We're all people. After all, we're all people. When we play a video game, sometimes we want to have a little bit of fun. And if you don't have an explicit rule, uh, I mean, the bug abuse, again, bug abuse is not even. Technically, if you look at the rules section, bug abuse is also not something that's written down. There's common courtesy. Would common courtesy fall? Would bug abusing fall under common courtesy? I guess common courtesy is such a have it all thing, isn't it? But there isn't
Yeah,
any rule
wait,
against bug abusing. It's just again a common sense thing that you're supposed to just understand that you're not supposed to do. But again, if people sometimes see administrators messing around, which they do, uh, it kind of feels unfair that they can't mess around when they are on their own, when there aren't other people, when they're not in public, right? You weren't in public, right? You were like in your
yeah,
own circle, in your own area, and you just punched a couple of gas canisters. Like
yeah.
it's not supposed to be a big deal.
But
And
to be honest, we did roleplay after that. That hey, we have suicide vests on and we're practicing.
well, okay, that's a whole nother topic. That could be considered. I think they have an anti-terrorism policy.
Yeah, they do, but to be honest, it's just role play, and it wasn't like actual terrorism because we actually didn't terrorize anything. We just blow ourselves up in a trailer park, like.
Okay, well that's a different discussion. But again, the concern here is that you got punished for something that isn't a rule that's written down,
Yeah.
and that creates frustration for not just you but a lot of different people. When administrators punish people that for things that are seemingly made up, seemingly that are you know just not necessarily written down, people something that people who couldn't have possibly known was not allowed to do. That's just well, that's creates annoyance, and people decide that hey, well, I might as well not do anything, might as well just leave. All right, well,
Yeah, I mean, my people got pissed off, like African in peace to them, but you know, we were literally like on the spot. We decided like, hey, we're waiting the 30-minute admin jail. We're gonna get geared up with M4s and hit the street and kill as many white people as we can. That was
yeah, again,
basically our plan.
that's well, that's kind of first of all, that's literally terrorism, uh,
A lot.
but
I mean, they gotta feel the wrath of the African. We're angry
well,
people
okay,
again.
no, don't act tough out of character wise.
I'm
That's
sorry.
very cringy. And when I'm saying something is cringy, you know it's bad. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're in
No,
public right
I
now,
just
and
wanna
Userone is
destroy
calling you
everything.
out for being cringy. I just want to make it clear. Okay? Alright, well, thank you so much
Um,
for coming here. On that note, we're gonna have somebody else in here. Thank you for coming.
thank you, everybody.
Alright.
You sure one fucked me.
I definitely did. Stay safe. Alright, let's get somebody else in here. So we're gonna open the interview room to different people so that they can come in and have a say in what they wanna talk about. Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna meet different people. We're gonna have their stories. We're gonna see if we can learn anything from their stories, so that we can create a system where this kind of stuff does not happen, and maybe any upcoming communities are gonna be able to, capitalize on that. All right, so now it's open. Come on in, come on in. Let's see who's gonna come, who's gonna talk, who wants to share their story. Anybody can come in right now. And yeah, like I said, we have changed the rules, or we're planning to change the rules, the way rules are enforced, and we are working on changing the guidelines for administrators to make sure that they submit evidence. As you can see, one thing I want to emphasize here is moderators and high rank staff are to submit sufficient evidence of the offense within 48 hours upon issuing a ban. The same applies to a formal warning as well. So even if you issue a formal warning, so the two ways you can handle a player is if we either give them a formal warning right now or issue them a ban for a certain time. And in either of I want to make it so that when issuing any kind of a penalty, starting from a formal warning going upwards, that they have evidence for that kind of stuff, even a warning, because like if it's not if it's not a formal warning, that's fine, if because we actually do allow administrators to give non-formal warnings, and again, a gray area is always going to be there. That's why that's why we're having this big discussion. It's what you do in the gray area. But we want to have this structure in place so that we can make sure that everybody is having rules enforced against them and is being held accountable for any wrongdoing. So we don't have certain people who get away with stuff, and we have people who don't do anything wrong and get punished for not doing anything wrong. I'm not necessarily saying that in his situation he hasn't done anything wrong. I don't have the full context for his situation, but what I do see is administrators saying stuff like this, mainly for shooting in the broad daylight. What does that supposed to mean? To like, put yourself in this person's shoes. Say you just got banned, and this is what you see, mainly for shooting in the broad daylight, in a role play server, right? And the rules never say that you're not allowed to shoot in the broad daylight. it's an arbitrary idea saying, oh, you're not allowed to shoot in public, which is not true. You are allowed to shoot in public on LSRP. People get away with that all the time. It seems like this particular person got singled out because of another reason, and this is just this kind of a made up reason that just an excuse to punish this person. If you are giving an excuse, make sure it's a legitimate excuse. Make sure you cite the rules. But if an administrator punishes me, and they cite the rules, and they show in the rules what specific rule that I broke, I can't really argue then. I can't argue if there's sufficient evidence to prove that I have broken the rules. I can't argue. But if the rules are vague, and if people are getting punished for rules that aren't written down, that's when confusion, that's when frustration happens. That's when people decide, you know what, I'm gonna go gather a bunch of my friends and start disrupting the server. Because anybody can do that. Anybody can start disrupting a community with no trouble at all. Anybody has that power in them. And if you give them a reason to do it by, citing unwritten rules, having vague rules, and just selectively enforcing these rules, that's when, that's when I, at least, start to at least partially sympathize with the people that are doing that stuff. I mean, I don't support ban evading, I don't support mass DM, no, I don't support intentional rule breaking at all. I myself don't try to intentionally rule break. But, that being said, when rules are so vague, people get frustrated, and then you start to realize, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna shit on their structure because all these other people, they're not suffering. I'm suffering even though I did nothing wrong. I'm gonna show them. You know what I mean? This kind of frustration, it builds up, and then it explodes into a person trying to disrupt, or a group of people trying to disrupt roleplay. And I think there's even bigger discussions to be had on this topic in real world applications. But when people are treated equally, this situation doesn't happen. And again, I know for a fact that I cannot create a situation where people are treated equally. That's just impossible. But what I can do is I can actually make it so that more people are treated equally. As many people as possible are treated equally, or everybody is treated as equally as I can make them get treated. I can't create a perfect world. I'm a human being. Nothing I do is perfect and ever will be. But I can try to get there, to bring it closer, to make the gray area smaller, so that more rules are clearly defined. Situations are clearly defined. But there is also this problem where I have to make sure I'm not overstepping it. I have to make sure I'm not creating a situation where it's very complicated. So that's why I'm actually trying to make things as simple as possible with this system. I mean, yeah, at first glance, the system is very complicated. But look, you have your sections, right? You have section 1, section 2, just 2 sections at this time. Then you have your part 1, illegal activity and ban evading. You immediately understand what this is. But if you want to be more descriptive, you can see exactly what these specific things mean. You don't need to read everything. You can just read the headlines of this and know exactly what this means in most cases. So DDoSing, doxing, ban evading, hacking, discrimination, posting gore, sex, mass DM, lying to administration. All these things are written down, and it's very clear what they mean. But if you want to be even more clear, if you have any questions, you can just read the underline. An individual who is proven to be beyond reasonable doubt to have intentionally, repeatedly, or disruptively fabricated the truth when speaking to an on-duty staff member. So, intentionally, repeatedly, or disruptively. So if they have disruptively, I guess this is a bad example because I copied this from, I think, from posting sex and go. But again, the fabricated the truth when speaking to an duty member. I mean, this is a bad example because everybody understands what lying to an administrator means. But for example, like if we have hacking, right? Hacking. What is hacking? Hacking is not G bugging into a car, right? That's not what hacking is. Hacking is an individual who is proven beyond reasonable doubt to have an illegal access to abilities which they should not. So let's think back to Clontix's example. Clontix told us how he got banned in the first episode of Userone Talks, and he told us that he got banned for hacking when all he did was G bugged. So he pressed G to get into a passenger seat, and he got teleported into a car because it was driving away. That's not hacking. At best, it's bug abuse. But in this case, I mean, this isn't these rules have not been adapted to a roleplay server. These rules are adapted to a Discord at this time. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is if Clontix got banned back then for that, an administrator under this system would have to post sufficient evidence that he did actually hack. Okay, a G-bugging, if somebody is running and then he teleports into a car, that could be G-bugging. It could be a hack, but it could also be G-bugging, creating this kind of a gray area. An administrator thinks he may be hacking, but they're not sure. So if Colontix appealed that, the administrators would realize we don't have sufficient evidence to prove that he was hacking. It's possible that he just J-bugged. It's possible he was hacking, but it was possible that he J-bugged. What do you do in that instance? Los Angeles Roleplay has made it clear that what they want to do in that instance is whatever they feel like. It's not clear. It's a gray area. What an admin feels like, they're gonna do. But I say that that's wrong. What you should do in that instance is let that person back on the server. Because it's possible that they didn't do anything wrong. It's possible that they didn't commit any rule breaking at all. And you're just punishing an innocent person. Again, going back to what we talked about last week. It's better to have 10 innocent people, the 10 guilty people go free, than one people go one innocent person get jailed. It's the Blackstone's ratio. So if we look at I had it up all this time. Okay, if we look at criminal law, in criminal law, Blackstone's ratio it's an idea that it's better that 10 guilty people escape than one innocent person suffers. And I absolutely agree with that because, again, we are looking at these situations. We have all of these stories of these different people, and they're all sharing the same story over and over and over throughout the years. And that story is the story of frustration that they didn't break any rules, but they got punished. That is the problem. That is the point that I'm trying to address with the roleplay union. I'm trying to see if we can create a system where we don't have innocent people getting punished for rule breaking. That's it. That's my argument, essentially. Alright. Anyone willing to speak in the interview? Now is the time. Why did it not work? Oh, I'm supposed to... I hashtagged here instead of adding it. I am genuinely a little tired at this time. I'm sorry, guys. I've had very little sleep. But look, let's get somebody else in the room. Let's have them share their story of how they may have gotten mistreated. Something along those lines. And again, we can, if you would like to share your story, all you need to do is you need to go down in the description of this video. There's a link to Roleplay Union. Once you join, I will explain exactly what you need to do, okay? If you join, what you have here is you're going to see how to get verified. So the requirements to join, as you need to prove that you had access to any hardcore roleplay server. And a hardcore roleplay server is a server that requires an application to join. And it's a roleplay server, obviously, in the past. And you don't have to have access at this time, but if you have evidence that you had access in the past and got banned, that's still fine. We accept banned people because sometimes we recognize that sometimes people that get punished may be innocent. So basically that's the idea. If you may be innocent, we'll just assume you're innocent unless we definitively know that you are guilty. That's it. Okay? If we have definite proof that you are guilty, that's when we treat you like a guilty person. But if we don't, if there's even a hindrance of proof that you may be innocent, then we'll treat you like an innocent person. This is specifically to avoid innocent people from being punished. That's it. We don't want an arbitrary situation which creates frustration, demotivates people, and gets them angry. We want a clear-cut situation where guilty people may go free sometimes, but at least the innocent people stay free. Okay? Because the thing is, innocent people will have to deal with guilty people no matter what. Okay? They're always gonna be there before administrators can ban them, because administrators are not psychics. They can't tell what a person can do before they do it in most cases. So it's ridiculous to expect administrators to just know what somebody is gonna do for sure. All administrators can do, being people, and what people in general can do, they can see, they can sniff, they can touch, they can taste, they can sense things. They see these things happening. They see, say, well let's bring up a specific scenario, okay? For example, back when I got banned on my birthday. So birthday banned on my birthday, Userone. So if we look at this situation, what an administrator saw back then is let me go ahead and do this. So if we look at the situation, some context. It was my birthday party, and hence my character's birthday party, because my character share my birthday. I mean, I would like to celebrate my birthday. It's easy to remember, and I can have a celebration in game, which is kind of like a celebration for me in real life. I mean, obviously I go out and club and celebrate in real life, but I can have kind of like a second celebration in game. But basically, what happened here it was this celebration, and then somebody shot out the door with a shotgun. So this guy says, "Open the door. We got fucking shotguns." And I believe there we go. Somebody did the command, as you can see in the top left. Door is shot. It opens. So what am I supposed to do in that situation? This is a hardcore roleplay server. If I ignore that, I am in a situation where I could be admin jailed myself for power gaming, because I would just ignore somebody else's legitimate roleplay, which would be power gaming. I'm just, what, is my door incapable of being shot open with a shotgun? No, it's not. It's an ordinary door. There's no reinforcement there. I got reinforced after the situation, but the point of it is that I had to react, otherwise I could be the one punished by the administration. I had to react, and the way I had to react without breaking any rules is I had to unlock the door. Okay, so that's what I did to simulate the door being shot open because this is a roleplay server, and that's what happened. What happened was, my character ran behind the counter and started shooting at everybody coming through that door. Why? Because the door just got shot open. You're in a house full of people that you care about. I mean, I don't have to argue about this. Administrators already saw that I was not wrong in the situation. That being said, they are not making it clear whether or not I was wrong in that situation. Even to this day, they have not made it clear. They are literally telling me in the same sentence that I was wrong and then that I was correct at the same time. And what's that supposed to convey to me? A person who is trying to minimize the times that you're getting admin jailed or banned. A person who is trying his fucking best to not be admin jailed or banned at any fucking circumstance, because even a tiniest fucking admin jail or ban will mean I can't apply to the PD, I can't do a certain number of things, and anytime there's going to be any kind of gray area dispute with another administrator in the future, they're going to look at my admin record, which is already shit. So all of that is going to pretty much lead to just a downward spiral of further complications. And I'm trying to minimize that. And when administrators are not giving me a clear-cut message on whether or not something I did is wrong or not, that creates a problem. But going back to the topic of what is the administrator's point of view? Well, if you think of how administrator is gonna act in a situation like this, when they see one person killing like a bunch of different people, right? You see a person killing a bunch of different people. I had the justifiable cause, and the administrator saw that afterwards. But Uh, Basically, I don't blame the admin for seeing this as deathmatch from my side, from seeing it as a mass deathmatch. But basically, what ends up happening is the administrator had an opportunity in this case to investigate it because I don't believe it was majorly disruptive. I was not major. I was not going to a public place. I was in my own house, right? So I was not majorly disruptive. I was not disrupting uh, other people. It was other people who were coming into my house, simply spectating the player before making that decision could have prevented the ban, the unjust ban. Like I'm trying to make it clear that I did not break any rules in this instance. It looks like it, but I didn't. So what do you care about more? Do you care about looking good, or do you care about the truth? This is what the question is. And in my experience with Los Santos roleplay, they care more about the reputation. They care more about what looks good, and that has been consistent along the board. This has I've been banned for making the server look bad. It's not a rule that's written down, but it's the reason. I'm not saying anything that isn't true. I have absolutely no reason to lie about Los Santos roleplay. It's I have so much invested in Los Santos roleplay that I could get banned at any instant, at any moment, and that would be it. But I'm really hoping that they're not gonna ban me for addressing real issues with Los Santos roleplay. But I'm past the point where I'm thinking when I'm expecting Los Santos roleplay to do anything about it. I am now trying to think if I can do something about it. If I could possibly create a system which could actually work. But yeah, I don't know why none of the people that are in verified chat are willing to talk. I think this guy is entertaining them a lot, but am I did I mess up the settings in my interview room? They should be able to. Oh, I'm an idiot. They can view the channel, but they can't connect. Wow, I apologize for that. Ah, Jesus. Should be able to connect now. I need to open the window because it's really, really quiet, really hot out here. One moment. Okay. So now anybody can connect that is verified. Ah, hello. Welcome. Hello? Hello? How you doing? Are you going to speak? I think your microphone may be muted. Well, look, I'm gonna have to move you somewhere else because we're trying to have some conversation. What's going on? I think we're having some technical issues right now. Give us a moment. I'm just having. I know what to do. I'm gonna have to move you. Sorry. Hello.
Hello.
I believe we've had you before, haven't we?
Oh,
But
yes, we have had me before.
yeah.
Would
Do you have
would
any
you like to ask?
new situations that you would like to share with us? Do you have evidence of these situations?
I have mentioning another law enforcement faction within RCRP.
Well, okay, we don't really care about that, to be honest. It's more what
Ah,
you're talking about more is more organizational structures, which is very important as well. But we are more concerned right
oh, what
now.
was this? What was the thing, sorry? Because you cut out when you said it.
What you're talking about is like structures of in-character-wise organizations, pretty much, right? But okay,
Oh, right.
uh, I mean, yeah, share that
Would you
story,
like
sure.
someone else?
Uh,
I don't mind.
all right, man. All right, let's. if you're gonna have a situation where, do you have any situations where an administrator enforced, you've seen an administrator enforce a rule, or anybody in position of power on a roleplay server enforce a rule that was not written down?
Yes, I have seen that happen before.
Okay, do you have? Okay, well, tell us that story, for example.
The
Okay, let's just
story
have a
is
story.
the story is my this person within our faction. This was like a year ago, a year and a half ago. We were in a vehicle pursuit,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the vehicle pursuit occurred, and the admin because I crashed into a wall. And of course, I role played because this is RCRP. You have to role play all your injuries in every single crash, right?
Yep.
So I role played what I actually role played what I needed to do, and I evaded. But the thing that happened was right after that, because okay, long story short, I went over the safe zone, which you have to tell an admin. Like if you shoot someone up or do something illegal, you have to tell an admin what like you need to call the police or whatever, so they know. It's like a green zone. I did
Yeah.
that, and then because I saw the person, I killed them, and I told the admin straight away over a SAS assistance, and they were like, you know what, like you didn't say, you have to say it beforehand, and that wasn't the rule. You had said you have to either do it beforehand or afterwards, straight away after doing it, and that's what I did. I did it straight away after doing it. He banned me, and then I made an appeal, and of course he didn't want to get admin complainted, so he removed the ban straight away. And yeah,
That was an interesting one, and what's interesting to me is how he avoided any kind of punishment for.
yeah. He
Uh,
he also was cocky enough to say, you're very lucky." I think the ban appeal is still up somewhere.
okay, can you show us the ban appeal? Because it sounds like an administrator pretty much did something wrong, made a mistake, but he's not accountable. He's not held accountable for this mistake. Now, to be clear, I don't think an administrator should be fucking executed for making a tiniest mistake. No, no, I don't think that should happen. But
Yeah.
when an administrator's making mistakes is just disregarded as a concept in many roleplay servers, that creates a problem, doesn't it?
Yes, it does create it's a huge problem that needs to be fixed.
I'm glad that you agree with me. Right now, I'm actually looking through the Red County roleplay rules, seeing if they have even changed since
Yeah, they
you've
did
talked.
change it. They changed it after my thing was
I've
unwritten,
had the
or I was
same.
talking to.
I've had multiple situations where I would break this unwritten rule, and then actually becomes a written rule after I broke it. So, for
Yeah,
example,
that's
with
what
the
happened.
yeah, with the 45 days for what situation, it was not a rule that you couldn't rob businesses without admin permission. It became that rule after we had done that. So this is a very consistent theme in different roleplay servers.
Yeah. You
Uh,
could probably find the ban appeal easily if you probably search it into the forums, because I'm banned off the forums. I can't really help you with that.
okay.
But you can search up bonk ban appeal and then Arky.
And a lot of
So
people,
Arky.
I'm already seeing a lot of people note the fact that a lot of people that are banned are going to be reaching out to me. Yeah, because banned people, they don't have a way to speak up about these issues other than this. They don't have
Yeah,
any way to
this is
speak
my
to administration to appeal because they have tried and they have failed, and the administrators have decided. Well, what's your situation? Why are you still banned?
I am banned because I leaked several photographic pictures of the administration team and San Andreas State Patrol on their forums multiple times,
Why did you do that?
because they banned me from the server for not being a good role player.
That's
That's
such a vague reason. But
Well,
okay.
because they said I was, hopping on cop baiting all the time, which was not the case, because I was originally banned for quote unquote cop baiting because a cop crashed into me, and was driving off because I was in a hurry. I was trying to get somewhere, and he chased me, and then for some reason I was cop baiting because a cop crashed into me and I drove off.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I don't know the specifics of your
yeah.
situation, but
Also, if you want, my friend just linked me, kind enough to link me ban appeal.
yeah, sure. Let's post it in. I'm gonna give you interview access so that you can so you can post it.
I think this is it. I'm not too sure because I can't really look at it. But yeah,
All right, let's have a look.
I think this should be it.
All right, let's have a quick look. If we have a look at the situation, attacking someone inside of safe zone without permission. So do you? This is difficult again because you probably don't have a screenshot of, the rule the way it used to be before.
No, I do not, unfortunately.
Well, I guess I can do one try. I can RCRP safe zone, and then if I do images, maybe somebody screen capped it. Oh, somebody screen capped my video. Oh no, it's somebody who illegally reposted my video. Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, no, I think I quoted it and I mentioned this is wrong in the appeal.
Oh, in the appeal, I see. Oh, I see it. Yeah, I actually see it in the appeal. All right, let's have a look. So the rule says if you want to commit or have just committed a crime in a place that would normally be guarded or under supervision, you have to request permission from an administrator.
Yes.
It's kind of funny that they allow you to request permission after you already do it. That's kind of silly. But it is the rule. It's the written rule. It makes, you see, when you punish somebody, right? It may make sense to punish somebody for doing something that you want to be against the rules. But when you punish somebody when they haven't actually broken any rules that are already written down.
Bugged.
Do you hear me right now?
Something.
Hello? Okay. When you punish somebody, okay, hold on. Let's back up a bit. So when you have a situation, right? Can you hear me right now? All right, we're having a small issue for a moment. I'm just gonna talk with the audience at this point. When you have a situation when an administrator, you are an administrator or even a server owner or part of the management, you see somebody do something that is not strictly against the rules, but you want it to be, right? You want it to be. Punishing them may seem like the right thing to do, but the thing is, people will follow the rules even if they disagree with them. People that want to stay on the server. So, people that know that they're going to be held accountable for rule breaking. So, it does not actually make sense to punish him because it's not strictly against the rules what he did.
Sorry, man, I just came here to blue ball the other people trying to come here. I'm gonna go now after I blue ball the shit out of them.
Well then, I'm just gonna change this guy's, there we go. Alright, so,
Hello.
hello, welcome. And just so you know, Host Before Bros is now considered, banned in the roleplay community. So, you know what? I'm actually gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna edit the channel so that we can make sure that, Host Before Bros is gonna have to go through our appeals system, just like anybody else. Because we want to, again, the point is to enforce rules strictly. I know he was just messing around. I do understand that. But if I don't punish him, then I cannot punish anybody for messing around like that. And then what will happen is this interview will turn into a bunch of people going, haha, I blue balled him, I'm so creative and I'm so funny, and then leaving. Because if I let him do it, I have to let everybody do it. Because the whole point of roleplay union is rules have to be enforced strictly to be fair. And that's the point. So I'm sorry, okay? I apologize, but it's not up to me anymore. It's the system. I have created the system, but the system is now operating in its own right. Alright, so welcome, Harmy. Welcome, Harmy.
Yeah.
Just have to explain that real quick. That the reason why I'm punishing him.
Yeah, because like this server was meant to discuss about rules and fairness on RCRP or LSRP and
And any roleplay, any hardcore roleplay
perceived
server.
potential.
Yeah, but do you have a situation where an administrator punished you for something that was not written in the rules section?
No, basically, this time I wanted to talk about a different rule that like admins should enforce it because like even if I break it, sometimes admins don't take it as a rule break. So I can explain it to you basically.
Okay, what? Okay, just try to summarize it, because.
Yeah, all right. So I just wanted to talk about a specific rule that is already applied to the server and is a bit connected or how do I say related to the suggestion I talked about on the last interview, like taking out of character reasons into in character on the last interview with you. So
Mhm.
basically, people roleplay having accidents, but sometimes they don't even roleplay the injuries properly. They only claim to have like really small injuries due to the SAM physics. Like y'all made a video for it, like a player with a bike crashing into a fence. In game, he doesn't go far, like crashing or going over the fence because that's the SAM physics. But in real life, you would even broke at least one bone, like
Okay,
at least one bone, even if you have a helmet.
I know what
So
you're talking
people don't
about.
roleplay.
I understand what you're talking about. You're talking about people not role playing injuries realistically as they should be.
Yes,
But you see, we
yes,
we are not at that point yet at which we can enforce those kind of rules. LSRP, you see, that's the advantage that LSRP has over us. With their arbitrary rules, they can make a rule that's they can enforce that kind of stuff. But in the roleplay union, we can't enforce that kind of stuff, or at least we at least yet we can't enforce that kind of stuff. If we were to make a roleplay server, because it's difficult to enforce the kind of stuff because it's arbitrary, and we're trying to stay away from arbitrary stuff. Uh, how would you define a rule? How would you define a rule that says you have to roleplay injuries realistically? Have you seen the rules that I've written up in the announcements? I can post them again in here if you'd like. Uh, but I've written up some rules in the announcements. Hold on, where did I put them? And I post them in the announcements. And basically, if you'd like, you can have a look. I'm trying to make sure that the rules are basically okay. Look. I'm just gonna, if you go to announcements, you can see it as the last post. Have a look through them because it's very relevant to what we're discussing this point. So okay, let's actually pretend that you are an administrator, right? And you
yeah,
can make a rule, okay? And you wanna address realistic. You wanna make sure people are realistically role playing injuries, right? This is what you wanna make sure. Okay, so
yes.
write down the rule right now. Okay, in kind of a similar format that which I used. Okay, for example, right? Do you see the document that I talked about? If you go to announcements,
Yeah,
which
RPU rules
yes,
point DOCX.
the DOCX documents, yes.
X.
So do you see this?
Yeah, I actually downloaded.
Yep. So if you do you think you can make a rule based on how I've written these rules, for example? So very descriptive. So you have
Yeah,
the
that's
title and the description. So description defines what qualifies, who qualifies for breaking that rule.
they're not opening for me, but if you could send a notepad.
I can just copy paste the text, I guess.
I mean, if it's over 2,000 words.
Yes, I can. I'll post one of them. I'll post one of them. Okay, I'll just post one of them so that you have an idea of what we're talking about. There you go. So this is it's just an example.
Tag me with it. Tag me. Where did you post with chat?
I posted in the interview room. Oh, so sorry, I forgot you don't have access to the interview room. I'm sorry, we're just having some technical issues as usual. Never these kind of interviews never go perfectly smoothly.
Oh, yes.
Right. So, basically, right. So you raised the complaint, and your complaint was the fact that administrators are not always enforcing the rule where players, don't role play injuries accurately. But okay, first of all, obviously administrators are not going to be able to tell whenever that happens because administrators are not always spectating every single player. But let's assume that you saw somebody, uh, you are an administrator, and you saw somebody not realistically roleplay injuries, so you want to add a rule that says they have to realistically roleplay injuries. I want you to write that rule down right now, and I'm gonna come up with the ways I can mess with it. So it's kind of like a funny thing I like to experiment with.
All right, I'll just write it down. I'm not gonna be like very specified because like no, we're not admin. It
It's
can be very
actually I
accessible.
don't want you to be specific, or at least not okay as specific as you want the actual rule to look like. Okay, just
All right,
literally write the rule that you want to be enforced because that's what essentially we want to do here.
all right. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna write it.
Yeah. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so you're still writing the rule down. Because
Yes, I am.
yeah, so again we are trying to this kind of interview, it has to be addressed to the public because it's more about the people watching us than there is yeah, it is just a conversation about this kind of stuff, but we're also trying to have some sort of a lesson that we can learn from each of these situations. And you bringing up the concern that people are not realistically role playing injuries. Well, you know what? Actually, when you have more specific rules, it's possible to actually make things happen. When people when you have because the reason administrators are enforcing rules in the first place is because they want to make things happen. They want to stop people from death matching. They want to stop people from power gaming. They want to stop nonsense from happening. They want to have a more structured way they're running the server. And that's all understandable and that's all good. The issue comes when these rules are arbitrary and they're not enforced equally to different people. Uh, so that creates complications. It makes it difficult to roleplay as we have discussed. So that's why we want more strict rules. We want more very well defined rules, and strict not as in limiting. Well, okay, rules do limit people's actions. They absolutely do. They tell you that you have to do something a certain way. But we don't wanna. But again, with a roleplay server based on real life, the limitations we want to make, the only kind of limitations we want to make, are the ones that are centered about making sure that people are. The limitation will make that not the ones that will not limit people at least we want to how do I define this? Let me open the mission file. I have a mission file where I've written down the goals that I have for this project. So I think that would probably be the best thing to look at. Where is it? Roleplay Union, factions, private. I'm sorry, it's there we go. If you look in the there we go. If you look in the rules that are published, uh, these are rules that these rules are expected to be fairly and equally enforced among the members of the staff of the Roleplay Union. Effective from October 2019, these rules are to be strictly enforced for the purpose of equal treatment of all members of the community. So that's the thing that we want to focus on. Equal treatment of all members of the community, no matter what. So what I find interesting already is the fact that you haven't yet published a rule. you're still writing it. You're still writing that rule, and that highlights how complicated it is to make these rules. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to say, "Oh, this shouldn't happen. Oh, this shouldn't happen," but to actually write a specific rule that makes enforcing a certain thing without limiting it, that's what makes it difficult, doesn't it?
Yes, because like I'm trying to write the rule, like you said, to be very specific and not using like shortcuts because it won't make sense at any point. So I gotta be detailed.
Yes, exactly. You need to be detailed and specific in what you are doing. Otherwise, if you're vague, nothing's gonna happen. Like, for example, this phenomenon is actually very widespread among human beings. If for example you see a person right collapsing on the street, you run up to them and you start doing CPR, and you need to yell to somebody to call an ambulance. What they taught us in driving school, because this is where I was taught to do CPR in the driving school. They taught us to look at a specific person, not just say someone call an ambulance, but look at a specific person and tell them to call an ambulance. Why? Because then you're designating someone. Now, of course, they're not necessarily going to call an ambulance, but then you can look at somebody else and tell them to call an ambulance, right? You're designating a specific person. If you say someone call an ambulance, everybody's gonna think, oh, somebody else will do it, right? Or this is a huge crowd, somebody else will do it, and every single person is gonna think that, and nobody's gonna call an ambulance. No, you need to designate a specific person. When things are specific, when things are clear, it's easier to hold people accountable. And the reason we need to hold people accountable is that's the only way you're gonna make rule enforcement actually happen. It's the only way you're gonna make rule enforcement fair. It's the only way you can hold everybody accountable, not just players, but staff and and members of the staff team. It's the only way to make things happen. To be descriptive. If you're just vague in your goals, if you're vague in your direction, in your focus, then it makes things difficult. And I've struggled with this myself because I've had a vague focus for a long time, and now I'm trying to narrow down my focus. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the roleplay union, and I think I have generally a good idea by now. And I'll announce what I want to do with the roleplay union in the coming month. Okay, I promise that. So stay tuned for that. And I do suggest that this is probably the best time to get verified. And again, we'll get more moderators on. If you wanna join the moderator team, you can actually apply to become a moderator in the announcements up here. We are still accepting applications, and we're gonna stop accepting applications after October. So when October strikes, we're gonna stop accepting applications, at least temporarily. Uh, but
One
after
thing,
that, yeah,
people are being toxic.
people are being toxic. What do you mean?
Some guy attacked me and said, "Leave the F interview already, man. This is
Wait,
boring." Also,
why are you
another guy
reading
was.
messages? Yeah, I asked you to make a rule.
I am right now. I am right now. I'm writing. I just saw it briefly and told you about it. I'm just trying to be
Who
specific, okay? You know, like
who is messaging you like that? Who is it? Like a private message?
no on the Discord on RPU.
Okay, is it
We're all
which
being
chat is it in?
general.
Okay, what
Go
did they
look at
say
the chat.
exactly?
Leave the F interview already, man. Shit is F boring. And he like throw the middle finger. I mean, I have no problem with that, but people are just being pretty.
Well, yeah, it's pretty expected on general chat because we have more lenient rules on general chat. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's kind of hilarious. All right, let's. I mean, the thing is, right? We want to enforce the rules strictly, and the rules that are enforced now is kind of vague. Anyone to be intentionally harassing, bullying, abusing other members. It's kind of vague, but yeah, I guess this could be qualified as intentionally harassing, bullying, and abusing. I mean, what did they say specifically? Can you show me?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind it, but I just wanted to tell you, since you don't accept. Discord.
We do need more moderators. That's obvious. It's definitely obvious that a lot of people are here. They're spamming all kinds of stuff that is completely irrelevant. I'm actually gonna, yeah, I'm actually gonna enforce a couple of rules that are,
This rule is taking so long.
yeah, you're taking a while to write one rule about enforcing, just making sure that people realistically roleplay injuries. You're taking a long time doing that, and that I think shows the other side, shows the administrative side. Because we want to look at both sides. We don't want to look at the sides of the players that feel like they are unfairly treated, but we also want to look at this on the side of administrators who are having trouble writing all these rules. So, have you written it yet?
Yeah, I'm almost.
Okay, that's. I can't really. Okay, I can't definitively. So this is what he said. Fucking leave the interview already, man. Shit is fucking boring. Uh, technically, that's. Alright. See, this is why I want to change the rules. I want to make them more specific. So right now, my.
I understand that you're from.
If right now my Discord rules say about toxic behavior, anyone found to be intentionally harassing, bullying, abusing other individuals will be kicked. Repeat offenders will be banned for 24 hours, doubled every offense. So that's the toxic behavior rule. The message that you have provided, and I have you muted just because you have a reverb, and it kind of messes with the audio. But I'll unmute you when I let you speak. So the message that you have sent specifically says, so this is the message that they sent: leave the fucking interview, lady man. Shit is fucking boring. Does this qualify as harassing, bullying, or what was it? Harassing, bullying. See, this is the trouble. Like I say these things about you have to specifically enforce the rules, but it's difficult. It's difficult because when you have vague things like harassing, bullying, or abusing other individuals, can I really classify that as abusing individuals? He just criticized it pretty much. He said that it's boring. He didn't really in my opinion, I don't think he intentionally harassed, bullied, or abused another individual. I think all he did was stated his opinion, and in my opinion, I believe that people should have the right to state their opinion. If he believes that it's boring, I all for that. So I'm not gonna punish him because I don't believe that he broke that rule. But you see how it's already difficult for me, even though it's my own rule, and why I'm changing it. So actually, hold on. Before I let you speak, I wanna have a look at the new rules. So if the same situation happened after October, after we have the new rules, what would this be under? We have general disruptive behavior, which is the vaguest rule that we have. An administrator who is proven to beyond a reasonable doubt to have intentionally, repeatedly acted in a manner that could be reasonably considered to be disruptive. Again, could saying leave the fucking interview, lady man, shit is boring. Well, he tagged him. Okay, that makes things a little difficult. Could this be reasonably considered disruptive? Yes, but again, this individual would not necessarily be punished immediately with a ban. In this case, it's considered a mild offense, and again, to be actually, he's not actually guilty of this offense. He needs to be warned by a staff member before he receives any sort of punishment. And the first punishment for a mild offense is a formal warning. So if he does this repeatedly, right? If he messages this same message over and over, first of all, this would be considered spam, which is a whole other thing. But disregarding that, what would happen would be is he would get a warning by an administrator, right? And not a formal warning, but just a warning to stop doing that. If he continues it, then he gets a formal warning, and if he continues after that, he gets a 2-hour ban because it's technically two different counts of offenses. So under this system, I feel like with this new set of rules, it's actually easier for an administrator to enforce these rules because it's more definitive, it's more descriptive. So not only is it better for the players to have more descriptive rules, it's better for the administrators, in my opinion. But okay, let's go back to you. Let's go back to the rule that you wrote. So I'm gonna unmute you now. And why don't you read us the rule that you wrote? Because my voice is just terrible.
Alright, I'm gonna read it for you.
Hmm.
If your character is included in an accident in game, you are required to roleplay the injuries properly that your character receives during that accident by basing on real life consequences. Accidents are always different from minor to major. We can take an example of getting MVA, which is motor vehicle. You're driving a motorbike and you crash into a car and you fall off the bike, hitting a wall, road, or fence hardly. If that happens in real life, you will either fall unconscious or get your bones injured. The driver might try to steal anything from you in reaction. I'm talking as an example. So he might try to steal anything from you as a reaction of they getting pissed off or aggressive. So you, in response, out of character, don't want to lose your items, so you suddenly roleplay waking up and resisting the other person who is trying to steal your item. So, you just wake up out of nowhere, not roleplaying your body injuries that you received, and try to protect yourself just not to lose your stuff. To lose your stuff. So, you should have the knowledge about what do you roleplay. At this point, you're roleplaying an MVA, and at 90% of the MVAs, you get injured. You have to specifically roleplay your injuries instead of just writing one or two slash me lines and get away with it.
Alright. So let me just make a statement real quick. This is definitely a lot of words, but it's not very descriptive. So because for example, like you provided the story. Your other characters don't want to lose your items, so you suddenly wake up and resist the other person. So, like, for example, right? So, basically, what I assume you mean, right, is, and you can correct me afterwards. If you crash into a wall, right, for example, and you fall off the bike and you go unconscious because of the crash, then somebody runs up and they try to rob you, for example, right? And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're good. Is that what you were talking about? Is that it? Hold on, I haven't unmuted yet. I am muted.
It's not your playing any your injuries and play to win attitude.
Okay,
Play
so
to win
can you start
attitude
over
is
because
not
you were muted?
Oh yeah, sorry. So it's basically yes, what you said. It's like non-RPing your injuries just because you don't want to lose your items, and it's play to win attitude. You just don't want to lose your items, so you basically just role play out of nowhere, like being okay and nothing happened, just not to lose your items. That's what I'm trying.
Hmm.
I'm gonna mute
So
my
you,
microphone because I have playback, and
yeah,
while you
okay.
talk, you hear my your voice.
Yeah, if you mute your microphone while you're not talking, that would be ideal. Yeah. So basically, the issue is. So let me just. Okay, so which I want you to. So all of this is a rule, okay, that you would put into a server, right? If
I
you
mean,
if
if
you
I was an
could,
admin,
if you
yeah, I
could.
could. If I was
Okay.
an admin and if it was discussed with other admins and if it would be implemented, yes.
Okay. Let me show you where that messes up because I love doing that. I love seeing kind of loopholes and pushing things to the boundaries. So your rule is actually very easy to push to the boundaries. So if your character is included in an accident in game, you're required to roleplay injuries properly that your character received during that accident by basing off real life consequences. Well, that's a little vague, but okay. Accidents are always different from minor to major. Blah blah blah. You're driving a motorbike. Okay. Hitting a wall. You don't otherwise want to lose your items. So suddenly roleplay waking up. Okay, that's so you should have knowledge about what do you roleplay at this point. It's what the problem I have with your role is it's complicated and it's a little vague. It's a lot of words, but you haven't really defined anything more specific. You wrote that 90% of motor vehicle accidents you get injured. I don't know if that's even true. Maybe
I mean, if this kind of accidents,
what kind of accidents? When somebody is
motor
driving in game and they
vehicle
hit a wall.
accident. It's even like with other RP situations. Like if you are either shot or injured or stabbed, you have to role play.
Okay.
By the way, sorry for cutting you out, but like you said, it's complicated. I didn't give out very wait, how do I say? Yeah, I didn't give out an exact definition, but I tried to explain with example. So that's why you might
Mhm.
think it's complicated. Because that most of the time that's how I explain
Well,
things.
yeah,
It's like
rules in our section, rules that I try to make, they have a clear punishment behind every rule. So serious offense have 30-day punishment. Mild offenses have their certain way. We don't just say admins punish people however you want. We have a specific set of punishments so that admins don't punish their friends by giving them a warning and punish people who they don't like for whatever reason by giving them a ban for life. But the I actually kind of like this rule. It's fit one for the fact that it's I do like that the fact that you included accents. I actually cannot like. I thought you were gonna say something like, "Oh, you have to roleplay serious injuries after hitting a wall," because that would mean that if somebody hits a wall at 5 miles per hour, then they have to roleplay breaking their leg. You know what I mean? But you haven't done that. You actually just said you're required to roleplay injuries, and that's vague. Yes, uh, and you're required to roleplay injuries properly. That's a whole nother thing where it's vague, but yeah, I mean it's the core concept which makes things difficult with enforcing rules strictly on the roleplay server because rules end up being vague no matter what, pretty much. But at least like we can hold administrators accountable to an extent if we have more definitive descriptive rules with examples in some cases at least. So I mean, when the rules are vague like this, there's not much you can do, and we recognize that. We are addressing the roleplay unit is more about addressing situations where rules are not vague. Uh, yeah, this is a complicated situation. Uh, well, okay, so let's for example say that I just okay well let's for example say that I just hit a wall going 5 miles per hour, right? And I got up, right? For example, and got back on the bike immediately. Uh, or maybe let's say that okay, let's for example say I'm driving the car, right? And then I hit a wall at low speeds, and then I continue driving without typing /me's. Would you, as an administrator, punish me if that rule was in place?
so as I said, basically it depends because like yeah, you said like if it's a low speed, you don't have to roleplay injuries like you get hurt or anything. Like just like in slow speed, you might just like fall off the bike and you can just get up again because it's not anything that is serious. Or like you can at least roleplay that the bike receives damage at least. You know? That's what I'm trying to say. So let's say we are going at least 20 miles per hour and you hit the wall. You
But no,
basically
no,
just get.
no. You're changing the topic. I asked you like, if for example I drive a car. Okay, you know what? Let's put you in the shoes of the management. Okay, and you have your subordinate administrators doing the work for you, and they see this rule and they're enforcing this rule, right? Um, a player drives a car, hits a wall at 5 miles per hour, then continues driving on. And this administrator of yours, they decide to issue a punishment for breaking this rule because the player did not type a /me about their car being damaged. Do you think that that's the right thing to do?
No, I don't think that's not the right thing to do. Basically, since basing on the current example, like they should not receive a punishment. They could receive it. Like they could give out at least a warning instead of just like a punishment.
Okay.
If you want to ask
No,
me
no,
about
no,
the
no, no, no.
punishment,
The thing is, a warning is still a punishment. Okay, I didn't specify which punishment it was for that specific reason. Okay, for I don't know why, but there's this for like idea in a lot of private communities that you can issue warnings when somebody didn't do anything wrong. I don't get it. I don't understand how that makes any sense. A person either did something wrong or they didn't do something wrong. There's no in between. Okay? Uh, and that creates problem because in reality you have a gray area that is the in between. But for the person, for the player, they either did something wrong, in which case they need to rethink their actions, see what they did wrong, which is a very important fact that a lot of administrators fail to present to the player, and then amend their actions based on that, so that in the future they don't make that mistakes. Uh, or they didn't do anything wrong, in which case they can just continue playing as they used to. So, okay, again, let me give you the example. Okay, uh, so you're a server manager, an administrator just punished a player who hit a wall going 5 miles per hour, and just continued driving and did nothing. Okay, so again, not thinking about the punishment itself. Okay, not thinking on the type of the punishment. We don't care about the type of the punishment. The only thing we care about is did the admin do the right thing if this was the rule at the time of the punishment? If this was the rule in place at the time of the punishment. Do you get what I'm saying?
So
Do you get what I'm saying? So a player hit a wall. So this was the rule that you had put in as a server management. On your server, a player hits a wall going 5 miles per hour, then continues driving, and your administrator punishes that player. We don't care how. They just punish them because they did something wrong. So did your administrator do the right thing?
So before I talk, yeah, I'm not in this management or like server administrator, but I will give out my opinion. So basically, if it was depending on what the player did and how he was, I will talk in how what the player did and how he was punished. Not what punished, but like he got punished. All right, so basically, like you said, he was going 5 miles per hour. If you watch it closely, going miles per hour is not that fast. Player like hits a wall, he could like at least role play his emotions and expression. But like it doesn't fall under the rule of not role playing injuries. He could at least role play the emotions or expressions. Like he either gets at least like show any emotion of just like getting out of his car, getting pissed that he damaged his vehicle, and like he got punished because he just hit the wall. He just keep driving like he didn't even hit it. So that's the point. He should role play emotions or at least expression.
So they so did the admin do anything wrong by punishing that player? Yes or no?
Yes, because it looks like the admin punished him for actually the wrong reason. So like for everything that he like for every punishment that is given to a player, it must always be looked closely in what it falls under. Like so let's say not we're playing injury.
So
He was going accidentally.
every single punishment should closely tied to a rule that's written down, right? So you're saying
No, I
that
mean to say
there
every
was
punishment.
another mistake that a player made. Uh,
No, the admin. I mean,
the
just
admin
can you
made.
let me explain it?
Sorry,
So I just
sorry.
like
I just want to make
no,
sure
it's
that we're
fine. It's
sticking to
fine.
the topic.
All right, so let me explain. So, as I said, the player was going, you said 5 miles per hour. So
Yes.
the admin punished him for not role playing the injuries. If we look closely into the accident, we can say that it was slow speed. And if you crash into a wall in slow speed in real life, you don't get injured at all because you might have your seatbelt on. And even if you don't have a seatbelt on, you either like you don't receive any if you are in a car.
Sorry,
Basically,
sorry.
that's what
Can you
happened.
say that again, one more time?
Yes.
I'm just trying
If
to.
you are in a car, you're writing it?
No, I'm trying to comprehend everything that you're saying. You're
Oh,
speaking
yes.
really quickly, and I am sick a little bit, so I'm just trying to keep it all in
It's
check.
fine, it's fine. I will try to keep it slow.
Yeah, no.
So, as I said, you are driving a car
Yes.
and you're going 5 miles per hour and you hit a wall.
Mhm.
So you got jailed, or I mean, sorry, I mean to say you got admin punished for not role playing your injury.
Yes.
That's basically for you when you get punished. The punishment should have like a few examples, like what it falls under. You cannot like you don't receive any injuries at all,
Well, what do you mean? An
while
example should have a punishment should have a few examples. You
I mean
mean
like
you mean a rule written down in the rules section should have examples, right?
your voice is cutting out, but
You
like
mean a rule that is written down in the rules sections should have examples next to it, right?
yes, like what it falls under, like your
What
in-game action,
what do you
and
mean what it
also
falls
like
under?
all right, this you see it's complicated, so let me just explain it. All
Yes,
right,
I'm trying to
so
get the explanation out of you, the one that I can understand. You're saying things, but I cannot comprehend those things because they're not really definitive. You're saying vague stuff that can be interpreted differently by different people, and that's exact kind of stuff that I'm trying to avoid. So that's why I'm trying to get the definitive explanation. You said that an administrator who under this rule. Okay, so we have a situation. Okay, starting from the bottom, we have this hypothetical server that you made. You put this rule in place. An administrator punished a player who hit a wall at 5 miles per hour and then continued driving under this rule, and you said that administrator was wrong. Correct?
yes.
Okay, that's good that we established that. Now we want to know what should that administrator have done instead.
All right, so basically so since we see into this situation at like this player that you said that he went into a wall on 5 miles per hour, and I'm going to repeat it again. I said that if you are going 5 miles per hour and you hit into a wall in real life, you don't receive like different injuries. So you don't
Well, you
have to
could
role
you
play
could
like
potentially receive minor injuries going into 5 miles per hour into a wall. It's I mean, when it comes to crashes, it's arbitrary and complicated. But yeah, do continue. Yeah, sure. Sorry, no real reason to interrupt you there.
yeah, no, it's fine. So like as I said, it's minor. At this point, it's minor, and you don't see any injuries. You could role play at least like getting surprised or not expecting to crash into the wall, and like role play emotions or at least expression of your feelings.
Okay, can I
How
stop you?
you're
Can I stop you
feeling.
there? Because the thing is, I asked you if the admin did something wrong by punishing that player.
I'm getting to that point.
Okay, all right, continue.
So what I'm thinking right now is that the administrator should have punished him for not the same reason. He should have not punished him for not role playing injury, basically. He should have role played him for not role playing an accident. That's the point what I'm trying. Alright?
To
So
make it
he punished
clear,
him
what
for
you
the
just
wrong
said.
reason.
Hold on. What you just said. This is what you just said, and I'm reciting to you. Uh, an administrator should not have punished him for not role playing an injuries. An administrator should have punished him for not role playing an accident. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, because like he didn't receive any injuries, and he should have not been punished for non-role playing injuries. That's why. Like in accident, as I said, you should role play at least emotions, fear, expression. If there are no injuries, you can also role play injuries, but it's mostly in an accident. You all should role play most of the things, like not only the feelings and express it. So at this point, he doesn't receive any injuries, as I said, because he's going only 5 miles per hour, which is very slow. I said earlier, he just like if he keeps going, that's non-RP because he should at least roleplay expressions. Like
So
for example,
okay, a player crashes into a wall at 5 miles per hour, then drives on. You believe that player should be punished?
yes,
Okay.
because he was
Can you
roleplaying
write
his
up a
feelings
rule?
or
Can you write
expression.
up a rule for which in which that player would be guilty of? Can you make a rule that like that?
Yes.
Okay,
But
write a rule for which that player would be guilty of, because this is interesting for me. Because this happens all the time. Players crash into a wall, then they just back up and they move on for a variety of different reasons. Administrators do this, police officers do this. It's just more convenient that way because role play spending a long time typing out long strings of words because you just bumped into a wall going low speeds in an emergency situation where every second matters. Being punished for not doing that would leave a lot of people frustrated.
Yo, what up? What up?
Where did he go?
I
Oh
don't know,
Jesus!
bro. Anyways, yo, bro, I'm D Daniels. I'm a LSP tester.
You're
Bro, I
an
would like to.
Tester. All right.
Yeah, I'm a LSP tester, bro. I would like to talk about some topic. And
Okay.
is it a problem if I get my nigga Rico in here?
Well, there is a problem already with your speech. We have
Oh, my bad, my bad. Yeah,
we have
I'm
a
just used to.
strict non-discrimination policy.
I'm
I don't
I'm
think
just-
I don't like you saying that just like that is not necessarily discrimination. It is
My-
using
bro,
a
yeah. Okay, my bad.
It is using a discriminative slur, but it's not technically breaking the rules. I want to make that clear that
Alright.
you are not technically discriminating against another person, against a group of people because you used a racial slur to call your friend a certain way. I just
Yeah,
want to make
okay.
I just want to make it clear that we are actually enforcing rules strictly because we
Yeah,
believe that
yeah.
makes means that people are held accountable for breaking said rules.
Yeah. Okay.
So why
Alright.
don't you? Okay, why do you want to bring Rico in? Okay, do you have any situation where?
No, there, bro. There's this one situation with Rico. He told me about. I just like to, have him in this convo that I.
No, this
One-
is this format is just for one extra person to share a situation where basically an admin punished you for something that was not against the rules or somebody.
Wait.
against the rules.
What do I gotta talk about?
So an administrator punished someone for something that is not written in the rules section. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Good.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yo, hold on. My granny just fell down. What the fuck? Granny! Granny! What the fuck? Wait, hold on, bro. Hold on, yo. What the fuck, my granny?
Okay, let's get somebody in here.
Yo, bro, my granny. Allah Akbar!
They're getting creative. I have to admire that. I forgot to remove his verified rank. Well, let's actually get somebody else in here.
Yo, what's up?
I actually appreciate these people coming in and showing the flaws of my system. Is that still the same person? No, it's not. Okay. All right. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
So yeah, as I said, no system is perfect.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, but I actually appreciate these people taking the fall and showing me where my system is flawed. I actually appreciate that because then I can amend the system and make it better. But obviously, it will never be at the point at which these people won't be able to come in here and cause chaos. We already have a verification system. It's kind of mild, and we want to keep it mild. We want to keep it loose because what ends up happening is we want to get as many people as possible in here, but at the same time we have some standard, and the only standard we have for verifications at this time is let me just show it right now. You need to have at one point had access to any hardcore roleplay servers. That's the only thing, and you just need to post a screenshot of you being on a roleplay server, and then you can join the roleplay union to discuss these issues. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to give as many people as possible the award. So, D-Clan, do you have a situation where an admin punished you for something that was not in the rules section?
I did actually, yeah. When I was back in like 2016, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got punished for drive-bying off the back of a motorbike with an M4. Wasn't in the rules, but I got punished for
Which
it.
community was that?
LSRP.
RCRP?
LSRP.
LSRP, because I know
Yeah.
Red County Roleplay has that as a rule, but LSRP does not. Okay, that's actually interesting. Do you have? Can you show any screenshots on that? Because
Nah,
we
I
are
don't have
looking.
any proof of it,
Well,
but I got AJO'd for it. But
yeah, well, you can go to your UCP and show us a screen cap of that admin record in your UCP. That could be proof of it.
yeah,
So, drive-by from the back of a motorcycle. Well, I mean, if we're thinking realistically,
it
could
was.
you
Yeah, it's
could you do it realistically?
No,
That's I mean debatable because can you hold on to the person in front of you or well I mean I once was on a quad bike and it went 100 kilometers an hour off road and it was terrible. I was a kid. It was like a birthday present, and I held this bar behind me. Right, I was holding onto that bar, and I kept smacking my head against the back of the guy in front of me who was riding the quad bike, and it was terrible. But the thing is, if it's going on a smooth road, could you theoretically hold the bar with one hand and hold a gun with another hand and shoot that gun, even if it's a two-handed weapon? Even if it's you can actually fire a two-handed weapon with one hand. It weighs about 3 kilograms. I fired two-handed weapons myself, not with one hand, but
someone that knows done it IRL. Like someone called Roy, he's done it IRL with a Tech 9.
Well, Tech 9 is not a two-handed weapon; it's a handgun.
True.
That's not an example. But the point I'm trying to make is an AR. How much an AR-15 weighs? So, for example, because
I'll Google it.
AR-15 weight. So an AR-15 weighs
Kilograms.
3 kilograms or 6.5 inches. So for not inches, pounds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah, an AR-15 weighs 6.5 inches, and it's not really a fully automatic weapon, but it's just an example of a two-handed weapon, right? And let's get another example. An AK-47. How much an AK-47 weighs? That's a more heavy gun.
Yeah, that'll be a lot heavier.
It weighs 4.8 kilograms loaded. Still, you can hold 4.8 kilograms in one hand. Can you handle the recoil of that? Well, actually, holding recoil from rifles is easier than from handguns because of the butt stock. Could you hold the butt stock against your shoulder while shooting? It's arbitrary, right? The thing is, in real life, you can do a lot of things, and that's the appeal of a roleplay server. That in a roleplay server, in theory, you can do everything that you can do in real life. That's why a lot of people love roleplay servers. But what you did is not against the rules in Los Santos Roleplay, and as far as I'm aware, it has never been against the rules in Los Santos Roleplay. There are no rules that say you're not allowed to fire the two-handed weapon from the back of a motorcycle. If there was a rule that said that, would you be frustrated for being, punished for, doing it?
Yeah, I was frustrated. I hadn't reported it, but nothing came out of it.
You were frustrated, but if it was a rule that's written down, would you be frustrated in that situation?
Yeah, I would be.
You would still be frustrated even if it's a rule written down.
No. If it was a written rule, yeah, I would get it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the point. The point is, it needs to be written down. In this situation, what I think an administrator should do is they should propose that they shouldn't ban you on the spot, but if they think what you're doing should not be allowed, they should go to the council of administrators at the top that make the rules, and they should propose that as a rule. And if that rule passes, then it should be enforced. You should not enforce a rule that's not written down. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
Alright, well, do you have any other situations that you would like to talk about with us? Oh, wait, before you go, do you actually have the screenshot of the rule?
Oh, yeah, let me get it.
Yeah,
I
get
can't
it.
I can't show my UCP as I'm a SRP tester.
Yeah, okay. But it's interesting that even testers are coming out, current LSRP testers are coming out and telling
No,
us.
but that was I get the point of the age because it was pretty bad.
No,
acting.
yeah, I get why they're doing it. I'm not blaming the administrators for doing it. I'm like saying that there's a flaw with the system, and the way the system works
I don't know,
should be
because-
relooked.
Like I think it's kind of like what would you say? It's like I don't know how to explain. Like common sense. Like
Yeah. But common
didn't-
sense is different based on different people. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're just basing everything off of common sense, why bother making a list of rules? Why not just make a document that says rules and it says do good stuff, don't do bad stuff, right? It's common sense, right?
Yeah, but like I said, I totally get why I was age-jailed.
Yeah, you get, and I get it too, because rules on LSRP are vague and up to interpretation of admins.
Because it can be classed as power gaming, really.
Classed as power gaming.
Yeah, because
Well,
Yeah.
actually, okay. Well, now
like
you're
you said, like,
now you're actually saying, let's look at a rule that is actually in
because,
Lusan's roleplay.
yeah, it's
Let's have a
opinions,
look.
like-
Let's have a look at that rule, okay? But
Yeah.
but even if it was power gaming, the reason that was given to you was drive-buying with a two-handed weapon, right? That was the reason that was provided to you.
Yeah.
And that is if nowhere in that justification do they mention power gaming as a rule.
No,
So
but, like-
from the perspective of the player, they now have to go to the
So,
rules
like-
section and they have to look through the whole list of rules to see which one qualifies for this specific section. You know, they never mention power gaming specifically,
yeah,
which could
like-
cause frustration. You
So
say,
say, like-
yeah, you say it's common sense. I get it. I get that
No,
you're
but,
saying that it's common sense, but let's actually have a look at how power gaming is defined in Lusan's roleplay, so we can see whether or not you're actually guilty of power gaming according to that description. How about that? Would you like to do that?
really, yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna paste the actual. I'm gonna give you access to the interview room so that you can. Yeah, okay. So if I do this, alright, so we're actually going to look at the actual rule. Power gaming. Power gaming can be defined as performing acts that are not human-like, forcing roleplay on others without giving them a fair chance, making up things which did not happen so that you can benefit, role-playing things which are not possible script-wise so that you can gain an unfair advantage. Okay, so power gaming can be defined as performing acts that are. So which one do you think would qualify for you specifically out of those lists? So I guess power gaming can be defined as performing acts that that are not human-like would probably be the most relevant.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it not human-like to hold a two-handed weapon off the back of the bike? That's arbitrary. But technically, maybe, I don't know. I would not say it's not impossible for a person to do in real life. Definitely possible. Not human-like. I don't know. That's such a weird way to phrase that. I would not say that you have actually power gamed in that situation.
I don't
Looking
know.
at the rule itself.
Like, if you look at, like, would you say flushing a sniper in the toilet is power gaming?
Yeah, I agree, and I did get admin jail for that.
Yeah. So, like, it's based on views, really.
No, nobody is questioning that flushing a 50 caliber sniper rifle down the toilet is power gaming. Everybody agrees with that. It's not possible to flush a 50 caliber sniper rifle down the toilet. I was just being an idiot and I made a mistake. In your case, shooting a double-handed weapon with one hand off the back of a bike, was it traveling quickly? Was it traveling fast? The bike? Do you remember? Hello? Of course I got DDoS every time. Are we actually getting DDoS? What's going on? Maybe the Discord is getting DDoS, but yeah, something's getting DDoS. I never have these issues off stream. It's always the 2 hours that I actually stream that these are the issues that spring up. Yeah. Well, that being said, I mean, I was gonna end it anyway. If this is the end, I was gonna end it anyway because we typically just do 2 hours. But basically, the point that I'm trying to bring up with this specific argument is that what were we talking about? When administrators don't cite the rules that are written down, it can get arbitrary, it can get frustrating, it can lead to administrators basically issuing different punishments based on things that are irrelevant, their own perception, right? Not on the rules that are written down, but their own perception of what should be right. And LSRP has made it clear that that's the way that they want to head. And you know what? Fine, if that works for them, and it seems to generally work for them. That's fine. But it does create some frustration among the community. It does lead to some people who have not actually broken any rules to be punished. But it's arbitrary, and that is the problem that I have, and that's the problem that we've seen people experience, including current Los Angeles roleplay testers, which is, interesting to talk about. Anyway, in regards to people who have already submitted requests to become moderators and staff members on Roleplay Union, I'm going to address them within this weekend. I know I've said this before, but I mean it this time. I am going to address them within this weekend because we are actually getting the I'm going to show you right now. I'm getting the Roleplay Union enforcement guidelines. That's going to be set up so that people, moderators, they can see what exact procedures they're doing. The reason I'm not publishing it is because, if rule breakers know what to look out for, they're gonna, take advantage of it to the best of their extent. As we know, they always try their best to disrupt, just communication. And I actually appreciate it because it, highlights the issues. Because typically it's harmless. It's typically just like 5 seconds of inconvenience. They work so hard for 5 seconds of popularity, and all it does is it helps us prevent it from happening in the future, which is amazing. But but in the context of this specific community, which is trying its best to make sure that only people who actually break certain rules are getting punished for breaking those rules, that's actually challenging, but it helps us. So I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank the people that support us, and I want to thank people that are legitimately going out of their way to mess with us, because either of those helps. But obviously, the people who support us help more. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed another installment of Userone Talks. I'm sorry that we had quite a few technical issues this time. Many of them due to my issues. I mean, I am a human being, and we recognize that admins are human beings. I'm trying to create a system where, where we know the truth, okay? Because the system that exists now, you don't know the real intent behind what the person was trying to do. You don't know you never know that. You never know somebody's true intentions. All you know is what they're doing, what they're doing specifically. And, if what they're doing is not specifically against the rules, but it looks like they are trying to break the rules, you shouldn't punish them. Because it's possible that they weren't trying to break the rules. And I'm a person who's paranoid as shit, who expects everybody out there to backstab me, who's being very cautious with what they're doing. Because I've had a lot of people, DDoS attack me, I've had people dox me, I have people dox my family. It's not nice, it's not pleasant to see the images of my house get posted on other people's videos, and then YouTube not taking them down when I request them to. But my videos get taken down immediately. Yeah, no issue there. Anybody can just claim my video, but no, I can't take down a video of a person posting a picture of my house in the public. No, that's... When the rules are vague and they're vaguely enforced, it creates a problem. It's an issue that's bigger than Los Angeles roleplay. It's an issue that's bigger than roleplay in general. It's a different issue in general. But the reason it's a roleplay union thing is because it's a issue prevalent in the roleplay community, and that's why I'm trying to contain it. So again, you still have a window until we can no longer accept applications. So make sure you use that window. Make sure you take advantage of it, and make sure you do what you need to do. Apply to become a moderator if you feel like, especially if you have experience moderating in the past. What we're gonna pretty much do is anybody who can prove that they have been a moderator on a roleplay server before, we're gonna accept them as moderators. People who cannot prove that, we will, but if they're competent, we're gonna accept them as helpers. But then they will be able to become moderators later on. So again, we're trying to enforce, rules on everybody. That's the whole point of Roleplay Union. I hope you guys enjoyed today's interview. I hope you learned something today. I've certainly, I think I learned a couple of things. I was very happy to hear that an administrator, not an administrator, but a tester, a member of a staff team in Los Angeles Roleplay, had experienced the same situation that even players experience. A situation where they were punished for something that was not strictly against the rules. And the frustration that comes with it. So, okay, I'm gonna stop talking now because I actually need to stop talking because I'm still sick. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and stay awesome. See you next week on the Roleplay Union.